Hi, it's Sandy Wyllie. Welcome to my mental health channel where I wipe away the stigma of mental illness by talking about my own personal struggles, having borderline personality disorder, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety and panic attacks. I talk about depression. I talk about narcissism and my narcissistic mother who abused me. I talk about schizophrenia. And I wrote a book, Life with My Schizophrenic Father, which is available on Amazon, and the link to that book is down below in the descriptions. I talk about my psychologist who sexually abused me, and I wrote books about that too, and the links to those are down below in the description. I talk about bipolar, ADHD, and just a plethora of other mental health related topics. But I only come on as a former patient of almost 20 years. I am not a licensed therapist and I do not hold a degree in psychology. So I cannot diagnose you or offer you professional advice. And all I ask in turn of you is your kindness and respect, please. Please be kind and respectful to me, to other people in the comments. We don't need to agree on everything. Variety is the spice of life, but we do need to show each other respect and kindness always. Now, if you are new to my channel, welcome, welcome. Hit that little box below in the right-hand corner that says subscribe. That way you'll be notified every time a new video of mine comes out. It's 100% free. So give it a thumbs up. Share it with your family, your friends on social media. Let's spread the love. Let's build this community and make friends with everyone here. And I'd love to hear your thoughts, your opinions, and your own struggles, what you're dealing with. And I welcome it from everyone, and I will respond to everyone that comments. Today, we're going to talk about Mother Wounds, Part 2. Now, if you haven't seen Mother Wounds, the first one, then press stop, jump over there and watch that, and then jump back over here and watch this, because this is Mother Wounds Part 2. Today, I'm going to question here, is my mother a psychopath? Now, I've done many videos about my mother, and we all know from those videos that she's narcissistic because she has every one of those traits. But now I question, I take it a step further, and I really question whether my mother is a psychopath. And I'll let you know why I question that. We're going to go over a little bit about, how psychopaths are different from narcissists, because I already know she's a narcissist. Psychopaths they don't feel any sadness or fear. That's one of the biggest things with a psychopath, is they don't have any fear and they don't have any sadness. Now, you could say that about a narcissist, but I don't think it's true that narcissists don't have any fear, okay? That's one of the differences. And see, they both think they're above the law, and they both feel superior to other people, and they both manipulate other people. So narcissists and psychopaths have a lot in common. But the psychopath is chillingly cool. They like to see you suffer. And this is my mother. She loved to see me suffer. And she was, chillingly cool. If you think of psychopaths, usually people think of serial killers like Ted Bundy was a psychopath. But it's not true. Not all psychopaths are killers. Not at all. Not all of them are killers. So I know that's the image that first, comes to mind is, a killer, especially one of the serial killers who, delights in, in hurting people. But it's true that psychopaths delight in hurting you and they derive pleasure from hurting you. But they're not all killers. At least I didn't know that my mother killed anyone. I don't think she did. um, so they always seek revenge. They always act impulsive. And they just don't have any care for you. They delight. Think of the bully in school. How many people have been bullied in school? I have. And the kids that bullied me, especially this girl, this huge fat girl, she was like 6 foot something, and she weighed like 300 pounds. I'm not exaggerating. And I was like 5 foot nothing, and like maybe 110, 105 pounds back then when I was a little girl, when I was smaller. And she delighted in hurting me. Whenever I was in pain or crying over her bullying, and she'd get other girls too. That's another thing that psychopaths and narcissists do. But they get other people to team up with them, join their side. I think I talked about this a little bit in yesterday's video. I won't mention any names or go watch yesterday's video. But this is why I think my mother might be a psychopath, because she used to break my toys. If her house wasn't exactly the way she wanted it, that means if I left a doll out, she would take it and she would break it and throw it away. And then when I was crying, she'd like delight, like actually smile in my pain. I remember I'd be crying and crying, just begging, telling her to stop, stop throwing my toys away. Stop calling me the names. I can't say them on the YouTube channel because they would take it down. They were that horrific, what she was calling me. And slut and whore were the nicer things, okay? Those were the nicer things that she said. And this is when I was a little girl, and I would be crying and crying, and she would be looking at me like almost like she was enjoying. So I have to question. I think that is very, psychotic behavior. What do you think? Do you ever have a mother that has hurt you so badly to your core, but then it looks like she's taking pleasure in doing it? Usually people don't try to hurt people. And narcissistic people really don't care if they hurt you. I already knew she was narcissistic. But a psychopath is different than a narcissist, because a psychopath will derive pleasure from hurting you. A narcissist will go to any means to get what they want, okay? If that's walking all over you and hurting you, well, it's too bad. You're in the way. Sorry. That's your narcissist. Now, your psychopath, on the other hand, wants to hurt you because they derive pleasure in watching you suffer. There's your difference between your narcissist and your psychopath. Okay? Your psychopath is just like, well, I'm going to do whatever I need for me. And if you're in my way, well, can't help that. But the psychopath, like I said, will get pleasure. Like I don't know how many of you have followed the Ted Bundy case, but it was very fascinating to me. I mean, I didn't watch all the horrific things he did, but in the courtroom, um, you could see when because he defended himself in court. He defended himself. He studied law. He was very intellectual. When he was talking about the crimes that were committed, he, of course, said he didn't do it. But when he was talking in graphic detail about them, you could see his face light up and him get excited. Like he was reliving the moment when he killed those poor innocent women, raped them, tortured them, and killed them. And you can see in the courtroom, I only saw a little bit of it because it sickened me, I couldn't watch it. I only saw, like, when he started talking about it, and I could see, like, how excited, and, like, how he acted, like retelling the story, like he was reliving the crime and getting pleasure from just retelling it. It's like, when someone talks dirty to you, like if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend on the phone and you start talking dirty about the last time you had sex, and you're starting to get, excited because you're reliving the experience on the phone. Well, that's how he was. So that, you know, that's real psychopathic. And my mother would act like that too, like deriving pleasure from when I'm begging and crying, a little girl telling her to stop, and her looking like I can't describe it. It's just like Ted Bundy in the courtroom, honestly, like smirking and acting like he's getting pleasure. It's such a mental sickness. I mean, all of these things are, well, what about narcissism, narcissistic personality disorder? Well, they say personality disorders aren't mental illness. They say borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder. They say they're not mental illnesses, they're personality disorders. But isn't, I don't know, this is what they say, but I think personality disorders aren't, under that category, are considered mental disorders. But I like I said, that's just my opinion. I don't think the professionals or the literature out there, if you read it, says it's. I don't know. You can tell me your thoughts and what you think, but of course, all these people, like Ted Bundy. Now I'm using him as my example here in this video. All right. My mother had everybody fooled, like Ted Bundy. Can you believe it? Because I read a book about him a little bit. There's only so much. I don't like to read the graphic crime shit, but I'm interested in the psychology because I'm very big on psychology and what makes people do the things they do. And Anne Rule, I love her books, by the way. I think that's her name. And she wrote a book about Ted Bundy. She worked with Ted Bundy in a hotline, a crisis hotline. Yeah, my son works in a crisis hotline too, answering calls from people who are in crisis, mental health crises, like they want to kill someone or they want to kill themselves, or yeah. And he was a volunteer there, and she was too. And so he's helping people. So this is the facade that he had. His facade was like, look at him here with Anne Rule there. I think that's her name. I could be mistaken. I know it's Anne. I think it's Anne Rule, but I think she's passed on now. She was working with him, Ted Bundy, in a crisis center, and he's taking phone calls, helping people in crisis. Now, how could you ever think, right? How could you think someone like that is a serial killer? It just, it doesn't make sense. Why is he helping people in so, and that's how my mother was, she fooled everybody, she had this persona like Ted Bundy, of like the best mom in the world, an immaculate home, um, home cooked dinners, desserts. Whenever my friends came over, oh, she'd be so sweet and so lovely, like no one would believe what the witch she was behind closed doors, because she would be this totally different persona. And that's how Ted Bundy was, believe it or not. He worked on a crisis hotline helping people um, with mental health issues that, so it's just incredible. Like the split, it's almost like a what do you call that? Dissociative personality disorder, where you have multiple personalities. They never said, I don't think anyone has ever said that he had multiple personalities, but he was a psychopath. And that's why I question whether my mother was a psychopath too. And I'm just giving you some examples. Now, maybe you can help me with that. Do you do you know someone who you think could be a psychopath from just by what I'm explaining to you about one? Um, but so yeah, they're bullies, like that girl at school. They derive pleasure in hurting you, and just really destroyed my life, like Ted Bundy destroyed all those girls' lives. It's very, very sad. So I'll stop here because I'm getting emotional. Sorry. Yeah, I'll stop here now. I don't want to get emotional on here. um, and please let me know what you think. Um, please comment and tell me if you've experienced anyone that you consider a psychopath in your life, if it's even been a parent. Tell me if I know you probably know a lot of narcissistic people, but do you think you ever knew a psychopath? What do you think about the subject? Let me know your thoughts and opinions, all right? And I'd love to really hear from you. All right, till next time, take care.